welcome back to my channel, Custom Scrapbook Design by Christy Stubbs. It is Saturday again already, so that means we are back with another installment of the Scrappin Saturday series that I have started. And we are on week 5 of that. And then I am also participating in the collaboration that is hosted by Jillian Norwood. And it is hashtag satmornmakes. So be sure to check out all of the designers who are participating in that. I have gone and watched several of the designers' videos the last couple of weeks, and they really have some great ideas that they're sharing. So be sure to go and check all of those guys out too, and like their videos and subscribe to their channels. And as always, I appreciate all of you being here and watching and joining me for this series and for subscribing to my channel and liking and commenting on my videos. I appreciate each and every one of you. So let's dive in on this next layout and see what we can come up with. I just want to start by saying that I do have several sheets of this collection left, but I do believe this is going to be the last layout in this series. I think I'm kind of over it and done, as well as I have used almost all of the papers that really are Christmas themed. So, you know, what I have left, I've got this stripe left, which really could be used for anything. This little swirl really doesn't scream Christmas necessarily. And then, of course, I've got the green and white plaid. I do have the hearts and the stars, which, like I said before, may be used in a baby book. And then I've got some snowflakes. Oh, and that's just the back and the cover page to that. So really, I have utilized almost all of the papers that really lend themselves definitively towards Christmas. So I think we're going to move on after this set. I do also have a few Christmas-like papers left in the 6x6, but these would be great for making some cards as well for next Christmas. So we may do that at some point in time. And then I also do have, you know, a box full of ephemera left and some words, which again, great for either more Christmas layouts or some Christmas cards. So we may be digging back into that. I'm not really sure yet. I don't have a real definitive plan of what I want to do here with what's left, but I have kind of an idea, and I have pulled most of the ephemera out here that I thought I would use, and most of the papers. So I think we're going to use 4 sheets of the 4x4. I have pulled a pink from my stash, and as you can see, it doesn't match 100%, but they coordinate well. And then I also pulled a couple sheets of this green from my stash as well. So a couple solids. And then these, minus the plaid and the polka dots, really are all I have left for the Christmas papers. So I'm not sure exactly what we're going to use out of this pile, but I'm going to challenge myself a little bit this week. This is a very busy paper, very busy, and I think I'm going to try and use this as the background. And then I also believe I'm going to just make this layout for one picture, and we're going to make it a big picture. So we're going to go ahead and use a 4x6. So I'm going to start out by cutting a photo mat. And I'm going to double mat the picture. And I'm going to start with this green. And we're going to cut this at 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 so that a 4x6 photo will fit perfectly on this photo mat without any trimming. So there we've got our 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. And then we're going to go 4 1/2 with the pink. And we're gonna go 6.5. And this cutter does not go that far. So we're gonna get as close as we can by just adding the ruler to the cutter to find that measurement. All right, so we're gonna have that photo mat. And that looks pretty good. So of course, I am going to ink the edges of that. And if you haven't watched me before, I tend to use this mat. I get these at the Dollar Tree, and I have about a half a dozen of them on hand. I just really like to have them readily available. And I always pull one onto my work surface when I'm inking, just to catch, as you can see on there, the flakes from my ink daubers. They tend to, no matter if they're fresh or old, to shred just a little bit of that off of there. So this catches that and keeps it off of my patterned paper. At least pretty darn good, unless I get real wild, then I might get it everywhere else. But then it's all kind of contained on that mat, and I just use a baby wipe and wipe that all off when I'm done. And then I have a nice clean surface to use again. I started doing that after my other mat was starting to get so dirty and all the ink's not coming off of it. So I kind of wanted to try and save my main desk pad a little bit from getting so dirty. So we're going to go ahead and trim the branding strip off of this. And again, I'm using the Pretty Little Studio, and it is the Sugar Plum collection. And this was the gingerbread. And like I said before, it is pretty busy. So this is challenging for me. I have a hard time using really busy papers. But what I wanted to do, well, let's get this photo mat ready actually, because that's going to come into play with how wide I want to make this other piece. So let's get it set up first. And I'm just trying to eyeball and make sure that photo mat is centered. The green is centered on top of the pink. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp that for 4x6. So there's no question what size photo goes there. And we're going to put the photo off to the right. And then I want to kind of break up this pattern a little bit with this paper. Now, this pattern paper in the background has a lot of different colors, and you can see there is the traditional green here, but there is kind of this tealy green throughout as well. And that's why I chose to kind of pull that color, because it was a little less non-traditional and went really well with the pink rather than going with the true green and red. We're kind of pulling the non-traditional colors. So this photo mat is 6.5 inches tall. So I want a strip to go back behind that, and I want to have about 1 inch, I think, of the mat sticking up past this. So I'm going to cut this at 4.5. And then we're going to take a look and see what we think of that breaking up that patterned paper. Okay, so either this is short or this is a little long. Looks like the green might be just a sliver short. That's okay. We will just trim that. Oh, and that's just a sliver long. So we're going to go ahead and just pull it all the way to one side, and then we'll trim off that other side and get that to kind of even out. So my plan is to put this strip down and then have this photo come into play like right around here. And then those other pattern papers that I had, I think we'll cut those into, let's see, so this is 4.5. If we do 1-inch strips, that'll leave a 1/4 inch of this matting top and bottom roughly. And just have a stripe of this color. Kind of wanted to meet up with the photo. So I'm trying to work with this 6-inch paper and make this work, and I think that will be fine. I'm going to cut these into 1-inch strips, and I'm going to cut 2 1-inch strips of each one of these because we'll make it appear as though the stripe goes all the way behind the photo, but they're actually going to just meet behind there instead of be one full strip. So let's cut our 1-inch strips. Okay, now that I've gotten everything inked, we're gonna go ahead and start kind of tacking everything down where we think we want it to be. And I'm not gonna measure. I'm not sure I want it necessarily perfectly centered. So we're gonna start by hooking this piece down first. And I'm just going to eyeball it where I think I want it. And I do use repositionable tape. So if for some reason I don't like where I have put that, I certainly can change it. And then this is where it's going to get just a little tricky, because I do want to make sure everything lines up from one side to the other side so that it does look like a continuation across the page behind that photo mat. So this is where we're going to find out if I actually cut everything straight. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just put a little piece of tape in the middle of each piece until I can get everything lined up, and then we'll hook everything down a little more permanently. This way it'll help hold everything while I'm repositioning till I get everything exactly as I want it. And this is one of the main reasons I actually like to use tape versus glue in my scrapbooking, because I tend to move things around quite a bit. All right. So that that is so close to being right, but it's not. So we're going to move that up just ever so slightly. I mean, I certainly could take a tape measure and measure to get them perfectly straight, but that's not how I roll. So we'll just move it ever so slightly and take a look again and see if I got it straight the second time. And they're going to move around a little bit because I do only have that little bit of adhesive in the middle holding them in place for now. But that looks pretty good. So Now we're going to be able to just go and line up the other side to match. And I'm not going to hook that side down just yet because I want to play around a little bit with the photo mat placement. Okay, so there's the nice stripe going across the page. Now that that's going across the page, it really looks like this is crooked as heck. So let's take a peek here. 3 5/8. Boy, it's just a sliver off. We're going to leave it for that sliver. By the time we add the rest of the stuff, you really won't notice. So again, I was wanting to put this photo mat as far to the right as I could. But being as we have this seam here, I want to cover that up. So that photo is going to end up being roughly about there. And I like that the photo mat overhangs that middle section there. All right. And then now we really just need to do some embellishing. Like that is pretty much all I'm going to put on the page. So I pulled all of this stuff out of my ephemera to see what I would possibly want to use on here. Now, it looks like I'm going to have to back whatever I use just because it's really getting lost in that super busy background. And I originally was thinking that maybe I would cut some of these Santas out and layer them. But then I'm really going outside my comfort zone again, and there are oh shoot, what are they called? There are a lot of these little guys. And so I thought maybe we could mimic that, the nutcrackers. Maybe we could mimic that here with some ephemera. So I've got the black and white. We've got one in color. We've got them on the tag. There's another tag with one on it. There's another one in color. So we could use those, or we could pull the Santa. Oh, decisions. So if we use the nutcracker, I think we'll pull the Santa. I don't think we want to use Santa Claus. I had pulled that thinking I was going to cut this apart and use these Santas on here, but I think I'm going to change direction. And maybe we'll just do, the title at the top and use the nutcrackers. And maybe we'll just mat this nutcracker tag, and then we can pull him down a little further. Actually, I think the colorful one lends itself a little bit better. I think we'll leave the black and white ones. And maybe just use those nutcrackers there and fussy cut a matting behind that Have a Merry Christmas. And then we could also pull some of the candy canes in here and do some of that. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to glue down. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to these 1-inch strips and go ahead and hook those down because I like the way that those look. So let's go ahead and get those hooked down, and then we can move on from there. Okay, we've got those stripes back down, and we've also trimmed that edge off. So now we're going to go ahead and hook down the photo mat where we want it. And we're just going to cover that seam. And actually, let's take a peek at how much that would cover if we decided to do that instead. Okay, I think that might be what we're going to do. So I'm just going to set that in place and not press it down real hard. And then I'm going to go ahead and ink the edges of this tag. And then we're going to go ahead and mat it. And we're either going to mat it in this green or maybe even the pink. Let's take a look at that. Both those options. So we've got that. Yeah, I think the green will work. So we're just going to go ahead and glue that down so it sticks well to the mat. And then we're just going to go ahead and hand trim that. Okay, so I've gone ahead and inked pretty much everything. I didn't do the nutcrackers. We're gonna let them be. So I did back the Merry Christmas on that green, so that coordinates really well. And I'm just gonna kind of push everything aside here and re-layer it once again. And I'm gonna go ahead and hook down the tag, and I'm going to go ahead and put that at a bit of an angle and up a bit higher. Let's just make sure, yep, that tag is going to hide the rest of that seam. I'm going to put that about like that. Run the tag at a bit of an angle there. And this nutcracker over here, I'm going to take some foam squares. I can't find my little ones, so these big ones looks like will just fit just perfectly behind there. So we're going to go ahead and lift this guy up and put him off to the side just a touch. And then that will ensure that a photo will still fit below, just like that. So your picture will be matted approximately like that is. Got a nice 4x6 photo. So the 4x6 photo there, we've got the tag, that ticket there. Let's add the rest of the tickets. And I think just to add some dimension, we're going to put some of these foam squares underneath this ticket and lift it up just so that the whole layout has just a little bit of depth to it. So we're going to layer that one. I'm trying to maintain the integrity of the nutcracker here and then trying to keep the full December there. And then we're going to go ahead and add this cheer ticket tucked slightly underneath the pink one. And I'm not going to press down very hard on that because I think I want to try and fit these candy canes kind of fanned out about like that. And I'm going to just tape those all together. And all that's going to be hidden. But I think we want to try and tape that underneath that ticket. Okay, and then I might go back and take a dot of glue and just attach the tops of those down once I make sure they're exactly where I want them. And then we've got this nutcracker here, and we're going to lift him up as well on some foam squares. I'm going to use 3 on him. And we're going to put him on the far left side. And I'm not going to center him. I'm going to bring him down just a little bit, more towards the bottom. So he's on that edge. Okay. And then we still have, I know I had 3 hearts at one time. Down to 2. Let's see, we'll clean up some of this and maybe if that third one will show up. I don't even remember what color. I think it was a pink one actually. So maybe it'll shake off once I hook everything else down. I'll give the whole sheet a good shake. And I'm going to go ahead and put the title down. And then I think I'm going to grab the glue and just add a little glue to the back of the hearts. Make sure those stay down nicely if I can keep a hold of it. Ah! And then I flicked it right onto there. Okay, and then I just hook down the tops of these candy canes with just a dab of glue underneath those so that they don't get caught on anything at some point in time. And then let's pick this whole thing up. There's that loose heart. I thought it would show up. So we've got a pink heart. Let's see. I think we're going to stick that little guy right on that candy cane. All right, I think that layout's done. I don't think I want to add, just grabbing some more of the embellishments to see if it's missing anything else. And all I had left here basically in my tray was a few stamps. I had this red ticket here, but I didn't need another red one. I have these arrows, but I don't really see a need for any of them. Maybe there, but it kind of pulls a lot of red. And the pink really won't go on there, and then that different green. I don't think I want to pull any of those. Let's just check the stars. We've already got the hearts. I kind of think we're good there. We do have some more of these little word stickers. I don't know that we necessarily need to add any of these either. I kind of feel like they're going to get lost in there. So I think this one's way out of my comfort zone. I'm not sure if I love this layout particularly. It's not my favorite out of all of them that we've completed together, but it didn't turn out bad. I did, again, like I said, go way out of my comfort zone with the really busy patterned paper in the background, but I do think a photo will really kind of pop on this. I have a silly little photo of a treat from a year ago, so you would just set your photo like that. So I do think your photo is going to really pop off of there and definitely be the highlight of the page. So there you have it. That's going to be the last in this series. I'm done using the sugar plum. I'm kind of over it. I've done enough layouts utilizing it. We've gotten a really nice selection of them. I will try and post maybe a short clip with all of the layouts from this series so you can kind of have a recap of that. And once again, I want to thank you for sticking with me, and thank you so much for subscribing to my channel if you have already, and if you haven't, please subscribe and give the video a thumbs up, and please leave a comment. Tell me what you like about the layout, maybe what you would do differently if you've got any better suggestions. And be sure to check out all of the other designers that are taking part in the hashtag satmornmakes, and you'll find all of the designers and different crafts and creations that are there. And then join me again next Saturday for the 6th installment of Scrappin Saturday. Thanks so much. Bye for now.